Good evening, welcome to the Buck Stops here. I'm Vishnu Shoma. Big focus this evening, the massacre of 31 people in 28 hours by Bodo rebels in the Kokrajhar and Buxa region of Assam. The question we're asking is this: Assam's ethnic cauldron, are vote bank politics the root cause? We ask this on a day when the familiar war of words between the Congress and the BJP has broken out, each blaming the other for causing or inciting the violence in the region. In all this, the Chief Minister of Assam, Tarun Gogoi, said that he will not quit since taking on Bodo militants is now his priority. But as politicians slug it out on the airwaves, on the ground in Kokrajhar, there is a sense of fear. The army's been holding flag marches, but the situation remains very tense. Joining us from Ground Zero is my colleague Alok Pandey. Alok, what is the situation presently? Do these flag marches continue? I believe earlier on in the day, the curfew was relaxed for a little while.
Well, yes, Vishnu, the curfew was relaxed for about 4 hours in the day, but now the curfew has been reimposed in both Kokrajhar and in Buxa. The atmosphere is one of terrible anxiety, if I can say that. I went to some areas where these killings had taken place, and everyone there is very anxious about what the next step is going to be. A lot of the people there, again, are displaced. The numbers are not as huge as they were perhaps in 2012 when a lot of ethnic violence had taken place here. But even then, a lot of people have fled their villages, come to safer areas, and now they are worried about how they'll go back or whether there will be any further killings. The government on its part is saying that it is pressing in the army, it is pressing in more paramilitary forces to try and ensure that peace is maintained. Whether that is actually possible or not remains to be seen. At the same time, you were also pointing out the political dispute that has started over this entire incident. It is something that needs to be taken note of. Even here, locally, a political blame game has started. One party blaming the other, one set of people blaming the other set of people. So all of that is happening on the ground. But I think in the midst of all of this, the most terrible tragedy is of those who've lost their loved ones or those who've lost property or have had to flee their villages. I went to areas in Kokrajhar and in Buxa where these killings have happened to get a sense of what's taking place on the ground. Let's take a look at this report. In Assam's Buxa district, these are the faces of a tragedy that's taken place over the last 36 hours. Incidents of violence, shooting have taken place over the last 36 hours in a targeted manner. These people that you see on your television screens like right now are the victims of that targeted killing. अच्छा, ये बताइए, आप गांव में था जब इंसिडेंट हुआ?
ये गांव में था, लेकिन गांव के नजदीक में जो महाराष्ट्र नेशनल पार्क है वो जंगल में घुस गया था।
अच्छा, आपका घर का क्या जला दिया? क्या घर आग लगा दिया? आग लगा दिया
100% जला दिया।
आपका सरकार जितना सुरक्षा आपका करना चाहिए था उतना किया?
तब तो 1% भी नहीं किया। अभी तक कोई सिक्योरिटी का इंतजाम नहीं किया गया यहाँ पर, जितना यहाँ पर जरूरत है। अभी भी उस साइड में जितना गांव है 100% सेंसिटिव है, वो कभी भी वहाँ पर हमला हो सकता है। लेकिन अभी तक हम लोग बार बार ये डिमांड दे रहे हैं, डिप्टी कमिश्नर से कांटेक्ट कर रहे हैं, लेकिन वो अभी तक कोई सिक्योरिटी का इंतजाम नहीं किया।
There you have it. The complaint among here seems to be the fact that the government does not seem to be very proactive in helping all of these people that you see over here. This is the spot where an incident occurred yesterday and about 17 to 18 people have lost their lives. These locals that you see over here have come from a few kilometers away, the village where that incident actually took place. They have now taken shelter at this place called Narayan Guri. These faces that you see on your television screens are young children, women, old men, women, able-bodied men. All of these people have escaped from that village. They don't want to go back. They have come from over there and they are now seeking refuge here. This young boy that you see, and Sanjay Da, my camera person, will just show you, he has lost his mother, and there are many more. In fact, there are many more people over here who've had to go. A lot of tragedy. There are many who are still missing according to these people. I think most importantly the problem is that they don't want to go back to their villages. They say that they feel very insecure. There is a bit of security over here. I can see central paramilitary forces. Some ministers have come. A mobile medical unit has come. But that is not enough to give them confidence to go back to their places. And also a lot of them pointing out that many people are still missing. They want the government to look for them and they want the government to create some kind of atmosphere so that these people can think of going back to their villages. At the moment, the situation very fluid, and all these people that you see over here, very, very tense, very agitated, anxious about what the future holds. The police are claiming that there have been no flesh killings in the last day or so, and all these bodies that are being recovered are from earlier. But at the same time, like I've been saying, an atmosphere of insecurity exists over here, and the challenge for the government and for the police will be to ensure that no further killings take place. The reasons for these killings still not very clear, but some are pointing to the political angle, to the fact that elections just took place in this area a while ago, and that could have led to some kind of confrontation between the two main communities here. At the moment, though, difficult to speculate on the reasons, but what is clear is that the atmosphere is very, very tense, and that the government and the Assam police need to do more to get the situation under control. In Lower Assam's Kokrajhar district, with camera person Sanjoy Chakravarti, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Well, it didn't take too long for politics to take over. The Jammu and Kashmir Chief Minister Omar Abdullah has blamed Narendra Modi for the violence in Assam. The BJP was quick to retort, saying nobody took Abdullah seriously.
Assam में 30 मुसलमान जो है उनका कत्ल हुआ। क्यों? क्योंकि वहां मोदी साहब ने तकरीर करके मुसलमानों के खिलाफ लोगों के दिलों में जहर डालने की कोशिश की। ये सच्चाई है। इस सच्चाई से इनकार नहीं किया जा सकता। 3 दिन पहले वो वहां गए, तमाम मुसलमानों को बांग्लादेशी का जो है दर्जा दिया, और आज 30 मुसलमान जो है उनको कब्र में सुला दिया गया। यही नरेंद्र मोदी साहब पूरे मुल्क में कश्मीरियों को बेइज्जत करने निकला हुआ है, और यही बीजेपी वाले आज जम्मू कश्मीर रियासत के 3 हिस्से करना चाहते हैं।
I think Omar Abdullah is not being taken even seriously even by the people of his own state. And you want me that I should take him seriously?
Well, targeting the Gujarat Chief Minister, the Congress leader Kapil Sibal had earlier on said that Modi stands for a model of divided India.
ये श्रेय नरेंद्र मोदी को जाता है, और जो प्रेस रिलीज का हेडिंग आपने देखा होगा, M for model, O for of, D for dividing, and I for India. That spells Modi. Model of dividing India. This is his trademark.
मेरा स्पष्ट आरोप है कि आसाम में ये जो सारा तनाव हो रहा है, वोट बैंक की पॉलिटिक्स के कारण वहां की तरुण गोगोई सरकार ने केंद्र की कांग्रेस सरकार के आशीर्वाद से तनाव को कम करने की कोशिश नहीं की है, समय पर उचित कार्रवाई नहीं की है, क्योंकि बहुत बड़ी संख्या में ऐसे तत्वों के वोट पर वो निर्भर करते हैं.
Well, joining us to look at what's happening on the ground over here and to perhaps reflect on whether it is in fact time to be debating this from a political standpoint or not. Subramaniam Swamy, chairperson of the BJP's Committee for Strategic Action, Dwijen Sharma, a former Rajya Sabha MP of the Congress Party, Professor Sanjoy Hazarika, director of the Centre for Northeast Studies at Jamia Millia Islamia, R.N. Ravi, former Special Director of the Intelligence Bureau, someone with more than 20 years of experience in the Northeast in dealing with insurgencies in the area. Thank you, sir, very much for being with us as well. Professor Hazarika, when we were speaking, you've consistently made the point that there is a real danger in politicians of different parties using this unfortunate massacre to further political gains. Is that in a sense being played out exactly as you said it is? Because this is less, it strikes me, a political issue and more an issue which has been caused on other grounds which people don't want to reflect on.
Well, see, I think there are, like all issues in the Northeast, is extremely complex. It's not straightforward this or that. And I think that one of the reasons that we need to reflect upon this is very simple. It is that the people who've been targeted have been are victims of not of a political party or an organization like that, but of a very specific group, as far as our understanding goes. The second thing is that we should stop blaming one side or the other for the situation, but we must reflect on the fact that today a public meeting in Guwahati has called on the Chief Minister and the state government to take very strong action and has condemned the failure of the state government to deal with it, because law and order in the BTC area is, as Mr. Ravi knows, the responsibility of the state government, not of the thing. So, and I think a lot of people are very angry about the fact that incidents takes place, the government says we will do something, but then things quieten down, issues are forgotten, the problem continues until another explosion takes place. And I think one problem, one issue that we need to always look at here is, why has this happened now in the middle of the election? Does it have anything to do with the elections? Maybe it does. But I would think that it is part of a tactic that the this particular insurgent armed group has been under pressure for the last 4.5 months after they're supposed to have killed, alleged to have killed the additional superintendent of police of and this is one way of striking back, easing the pressure, using the opportunity to regroup.
Dr. Swamy, would you accept that this massacre has less to do with the politics of migration and the reality of migration to Assam, and more to do perhaps with political factors, that members of the non-Bodo community, perhaps in the recent elections, voted for somebody who members of the Bodo community are opposed to? I mean, this is being seen as one of the reasons.
Well, first of all, I think it's always the democratic principle that the government of the day has to be accountable. And in this particular case, the Bodoland party is a part of the coalition, and the transport minister is one of their prominent leaders. And it is he who made that statement that the Muslims did not vote for us. Secondly, the other communal party is the AIUDF, which is now a part of the coalition of the UPA. So all the principal accused people, one for the government for being accountable, to be held accountable, and these two parties which are sparring all the time, they all happen to be part of the same coalition. The NDA had in 2003 created this council, BTC as it's called, and the 90s strife was cooled down because of that. Now since 2009 there have been several incidents, and I think we have to hold the Assam government as incompetent, as failing to take strict action.
Are you calling for the resignation of the Chief Minister?
I would like President's rule till the fresh elections are held.
Mr. Sharma, why don't you respond to that point? He says there needs to be President's rule right now. The state government is incompetent in handling this situation.
No, I don't think that President's rule will sense the situation in Assam. There are complex problems in the state of Assam and northeastern region particularly, and it is not that the government has not done anything else. The government is doing. Chief Minister has categorically said today that he has taken all responsibility for such incidents, and he has taken all measures, including army and paramilitary forces have been sent to the places. Now the President's rule at this stage will not help in improving the situation, because it is necessary at this moment that everybody must try how to bring back peace in the area and confidence amongst the people living in that area. So I don't believe that President's rule will serve the purpose.
Let me ask Mr. Ravi this question, sir. The Bodo militants who have come in, some reports suggest that in fact they were based out of Bhutan. What's absolutely clear is that they're extremely heavily armed. In having tracked this group for as long as you have, could you tell us a little bit more about who you think may be responsible? Where do they get their strength from? Where do they get their weaponry from?
Yeah, look at this incident rising above the rhetoric of cynical politics. There are certain incontrovertible facts, undisputed. Number one, this is not a communal riot. It is not that the communities are killing each other in organized or unorganized violence. It is a targeted killing by a set of heavily armed with automatic weapons, Kalashnikovs, a set of masked men going and killing people in their houses or outside. Kalashnikov is not a weapon of riot.
No.
It is a militancy, it's a weapon of militancy, it's a militants have it. Now look at the area. There are only two sets of militants, those who operate in the area. One is under the patronage of BPF, which is a coalition partner of the state government, coalition partner. Another, BPF itself is a reincarnation of BLT. It was a terrorist organization. They came and they changed, they formed the party. So they have this one militia. Another is NDTV, which is engaged with the state for last 9 years on an undertaking of good behavior. In the last 9 years, they have killed over 1,500 people in sporadic and orchestrated violence. Now, violence have taken place in massive scale in 2008 October.
Yes.
When they killed over 100 people, they maimed over 500, lost limbs.
Yes.
At the time when popular pressure came on the government, NDTV said, look, we are good boys. It is the one faction which is Ranjan Dembari which is doing the mischief. So they were saved and talk continued. Now later, about a year back, government got in touch, engaged even Ranjan Dembari, engaged with him, and now they have entered into a ceasefire. Now once they have entered into a ceasefire with Ranjan Dembari, now they say there is another faction, Songbijit, which is a bad boy, and they are the one killing. The point is, the two factions of Bodos, whether it is a BPF or NDTV, both are engaged with the government. The fiction of faction, that one faction is engaging, one faction is doing it is a very dangerous faction.
He makes a very important point over there. The fiction of factions within the Bodo group is something which a lot of people would say, look, it's factional battles, we can't do anything. But you were mentioning this point that the Bodo People's Front is directly linked to the government. They have a minister over there presently in this government. Therefore, do you believe that the state government would ever be in a position to effectively?
Absolutely, that's my point. And you see, they won't be able to do it because they have both these parties which are, in my opinion, communal in their respective ways. The AIUDF, which you should not forget, has been consistently campaigning on the issue that Muslims for Muslim rights, and now he has emerged as the leading opposition party or the leader of the opposition, that his party man, and he himself is an MP as part of the UPA. How can you expect them to do it? So therefore, I am saying that with this government, which should have mobilized the army much earlier than after 48 hours, they should be not in place. It should be done by a central government authority which will move the central forces quickly.
Would you agree with that, Professor Hazarika, that the deployment of the army to this affected area should have perhaps taken place months ago? Because as you mentioned, tension had been building up for a very long time.
These are not issues that the army can resolve. These are issues that the force on the ground, which is the law and order machinery, that's the one which, because they know who is going where. I mean, Ravi more than anybody else can tell you this situation, but I think the army should always be the last resort and not the first resort. It's for too long in the northeast, it's been the first resort, and it is a very difficult situation when the army gets into it, because I'm
not saying that the army should solve the problem. I'm saying the army should ensure there should be law and order, and army can do it. And every time the army
ensure there is law and order, I'm sorry, that is a responsibility of the state government.
And I am not. If the state government machinery fails, then the army has to come in. That's it. The provision is provided for that.
The issue of army is irrelevant here, because both the groups are engaged with the government. One is a partner, one is engaged. So when the government is complicit, and I don't agree with Dr. Amiswamy that government is not able to do it, government is not willing to do it.
That's it.
When there was a demonstrative action, riots are stopped. In 2012, when there was a massive riot, when they decided, when there was a pressure, they went and caught Mono Brahma, an executive member of the council. From his house, weapons were recovered, Kalashnikovs and explosives. Immediately, things quietened.
Let me put that to Dwijen Sharma. We are running out of time. Mr. Sharma, what you see over here from somebody who's been fighting these forces on the ground for more than 2 decades is that there is a lack of willingness on the part of the state government in engaging with those groups.
You see,
how do you respond?
You see, there is a background. No? This NDTV Songbijit group is creating problem in Assam for some time past. they are killing people in other parts of the state also. So this is not the thing only that they are doing it in Kokrajhar and Buxar district only. But the thing is, they have been encouraged, they got encouragement from the speeches of politicians.
Mr. Sharma, the question is very pointed. Will the Tarun Gogoi government go after those directly and immediately who are responsible for the situation on the ground, irrespective of your political links with the Bodos?
Yes, Tarun Gogoi, Chief Minister of Assam, he has specifically and categorically today announced that I will take stern action those people who are involved in such activities, who are involved in such massacre and killing. So there is no doubt about it, and he is doing all his best. Now question is, somebody said that it is a very complex situation in Assam, and NDTV Sangvijit group created trouble in other places also. So we must not come to a conclusion that only this president's rule will serve the purpose.
No, that's the point. We've gone beyond that point. We are just trying to look at whether the state government is serious enough in engaging forces who are close to your closest ally. Won't that threaten your political equation with Bodo leaders on the ground?
No, I am not saying. I am not saying in political equation. I am very confidently, I can say that state government has taken serious action, and seriously they have taken, and all necessary measures have been taken by the state government.
We've heard this before as well.
I believe
whenever a tragedy happens, sir, you can count on somebody in the government saying all measures have been taken, but measures have not been taken, sir. There are 31 people who are dead.
No, I believe it has stopped already. This killing has been stopped.
Yeah, but after it has happened,
about 20 hours.
Sanjay Hazarika had the last point to make. Before I close this debate, go ahead,
sir. There are two small points. Partly to what our Congress spokesman was saying, is that we should really know within a month whether if people are being caught, if people are being arrested, and if let's give a month and see if the situation is any better. That's one.
Yes, this is that's
one.
Point.
That's one. The second is we cannot forget that next year is the VTC elections.
Yes,
and everybody is going to be a player.
Yes,
and I think it's very important to remember that Ranjan Daimari, of whom we spoke, is, I'm sure, interested in playing a role. And the problem in the BTC area, the critical problem is the Boros are a minority in the region, in the area. Everyone is a minority. There is no single majority.
You know, I'm interrupting you there because if we were to discuss that issue, which perhaps is the central issue of how everybody is a minority in that particular area, the Bodos account for what, 30% or 31% of the population of that area. The Muslim community accounts for somewhat less. There is no distinct majority. There is no distinct minority, and land and territory and property is perhaps the largest single issue over there, not religion. And not the issue of being a migrant or not being a migrant. Perhaps the BJP disagrees on that issue. We'll debate this. I will debate that on another day. But we're going to quickly move on. The Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi has ruled out any support for a third front in forming the next government. Mr. Gandhi said that he was confident that the Congress will get the numbers to form the next government at the centre. His statement comes just a day after the CPM asserted that the Congress may be forced to support a government of secular parties at the centre.
संदेश आ रहा है कि पूरे नंबर नहीं आएंगे तो आप ऑपोजिशन में बैठना पसंद करोगे, जोड़ तोड़ के सरकार नहीं बनाओगे? हाँ, मतलब किसी और फ्रंट को नहीं सपोर्ट करेंगे? आप किसी और फ्रंट को सपोर्ट नहीं करोगे और ना ही जोड़ तोड़ के सरकार बनाओगे? पूरे नंबर नहीं आए तो आप पूरे नंबर आएंगे, आप देखना पूरे नंबर आएंगे।